So, are you feeling like you're doing everything right when it comes to manifestation, but, the results just aren't showing up? Today, we're going to look at a totally different way of thinking about it, a framework from Buddhist philosophy that might just explain why. Let's get into it.
I get it. You've probably tried it all. You've followed the gurus, you've read the books, you've put in all the work, but that big goal, it still feels impossibly far away. And yeah, that can be incredibly frustrating. Okay, so does any of this look familiar? The dream boards, those morning affirmations, the super detailed visualizations, all these popular techniques, they promise the world. But for so many people, the return on that emotional investment is, well, pretty small. You might manifest a great parking spot, but not that life-changing career, right?
But here's a thought. What if this isn't your fault? What if it's not about trying harder or believing more? The real issue might actually be the very foundation of the philosophy you've been using this whole time.
And this brings us to this really interesting paradox. In the world of manifestation, sometimes the more you desperately want something, the more you actually push it away. Let's break down exactly why that happens.
Okay, here is the absolute game changer. The principle that flips everything on its head. Reality doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. It's like a mirror to your state of being, not a catalog for your desires.
So think about it through that lens. When you create a dream board, what's the real feeling underneath it all? It's a powerful declaration of, I want this because I don't have it. It's basically a beautiful monument to your own sense of lack.
And the same exact paradox hits you with affirmations. If you're standing in front of a mirror saying, I am wealthy, but your bank account is screaming otherwise, you create this huge internal conflict. A part of your mind knows it's not true, so every single repetition can actually end up reinforcing the feeling of not being wealthy yet.
This goes for faking it till you make it, too. I mean, the phrase itself tells you what's going on. You're pretending. The very act of wearing an identity confirms on some level that you are not that identity. Because, let's be real, if you truly were it, you wouldn't need to pretend at all.
So what's the deal? Why do these super popular methods so often fall flat? Well, it really comes down to a clash between two very different philosophies for how you create your reality.
You see, a lot of the Western techniques are really built on a faith-based model. You're asked to put your faith in some kind of external force, like the universe. But the Buddhist approach? That's a wisdom-based model. It's not about blind faith. It's about deeply understanding the mechanics of your own mind.
When you hear trust the universe, it's basically saying the power is out there, somewhere else, and your success depends on your ability to hold on to this unshakable faith in something external, which is really, really hard to do when your daily reality seems to be telling you the exact opposite.
But then you have the Buddhist approach, which says the complete opposite. Be your own refuge. The power, the cause, the solution, it's all found inside you. It's about cultivating your internal state, not trying to get the attention of an external one. It's a subtle difference, but it is absolutely profound.
So if the real problem is internal, what is it exactly? It's not about time or effort or how hard you work. The real barrier is something much more fundamental to how you feel, moment to moment. Here's the thing. The gap between you and what you want isn't measured in miles or days. It's measured in vibration. Your goal exists at a vibration of already having it, but that intense feeling of wanting keeps you locked in a vibration of not having it. And those two just can't occupy the same space.
And, in Thai, there's this perfect word for this feeling, Jai Din. It literally translates to a dancing or an agitated mind. It's that restless, grasping, anxious energy of intense wanting. That agitation, that's the very source of the vibration of lack.
And when you try to take action from that agitated, wanting state, it feels like you're fighting for your life, right? And what happens? It feels like life is fighting right back. Every step forward feels like a massive struggle because you're operating from this internal state of scarcity, and the world just keeps reflecting that struggle right back at you.
So how do we get out of this cycle? Well, the Buddhist framework gives us two completely different paths, two different mental engines you can use to create. And one leads to total burnout, while the other leads to an almost effortless flow. So on one side, you've got what's called tanya. This is that craving, that clinging we've been talking about. It's fueled by that sense of lack, and its result is always struggle and eventually burnout. But on the other side, we have chanda. This is totally different. This is a wholesome passion, a genuine love for the process itself. It comes from a mind that feels full, and it results in joyful, sustainable action.
And this all boils down to the core mechanic of how we create our reality. And it's actually a super simple two-step process. First, you have your bhava. That's your internal state of being. And that state directly creates your jati, which is the manifested reality you actually experience. To put it really simply, your inner world is the cause and your outer world is the effect, period.
Okay, so this is crucial. This is not about just sitting back and waiting for things to happen. It's about a radical shift in how we take action. It's about making sure our actions come from the right internal place to begin with.
You absolutely 100% still have to take action. But the shift is all about why you're acting. Instead of acting to get something to fill a void inside you, you act from a place that already feels full and passionate. You do the thing because you just love doing the thing. That is the very essence of acting from Chanda.
So what's the big takeaway here? Let's just break it down. First, fall in love with the process, not just the prize at the end. Second, always remember your internal state. Your bhava is creating your external world. And finally, the most powerful shift you can ever make is to move from that needy energy of craving, or tanya, to the joyful, full energy of passion, chanda. And that really leaves us with one final and I think really important question you can ask yourself. Take a hard look at your goals and the actions you're taking to get there. Are they being fueled by a desperate fear of what you don't have, or by a genuine, joyful love of just playing the game? Because the answer to that question, well, it determines everything.